Glenn, welcome to another edition of Sponsorship Unpacked. It's good to see you again. We've seen you out and about recently on your Glenn Says episodes, which we also love. Get a lot of good feedback about that, Glenn. Not going to
That's
lie.
nice. Well, it's good. It's top of mind stuff usually. I'm out and about, but yeah, love the little 30-second snippets and it's good to pass on, yeah, some of those top of mind thoughts.
Yeah, and obviously one of them recently you're out and about with Spartan Racing, one of our Spartan Race and Tough Mudder are one of our clients that you work really closely with and do a really good job with. So it was good to see you there. So a lot happening in your world. So firstly, welcome, because this is going to be another, maybe not as pick your brain as much as, maybe let's chuck a topic on the table that we can sort of debate and discuss, that comes up daily for us because we do cover the spectrum of sports organisations and we do that across Australia, the UK, and also in New Zealand. And we do have to, obviously part of what we do is lead generation, and we look for prospective businesses and contacts who are going to be interested in speaking to us about, or our clients speaking to us or our clients about, partnerships or sponsorship. So the two differences is what I want to talk about today between the local community club, be it a really small community club, right the way through to a 1,000, 1,500 person or participant community club. That could be in any type of sport versus something that is more national, like a Spartan, like a Australian Masters Games or a Rugby Victoria that's statewide that doesn't have a specific location. And so I want to talk about just touch on how we differentiate the searching between the two different types of clients. So I'm happy for you to kick this one off, and I'll chip in a little bit as well.
It is a little bit of the magic sauce of sponsorship is you've got to target the right people because ultimately, or the right businesses, because ultimately you're asking them to engage with you and engage with your community, reap the benefits of the sponsorship, and you've got to make sure they're matched. So a national branded business won't want to engage necessarily or won't necessarily see the value out of quite a deep, low level, important but small community club, and vice versa. A local cafe, who sees 1,000 people through their doors, aren't going to be looking at a big national sporting organisation. So it is super important to get it right. So at a community level, if we start there at that community cricket club, basketball, volleyball, whatever it might be, it is all about community. I think that's the key. So looking in your local area, the area that your club is or association is, and those connections you might be able to make, because local clubs, businesses are so keen to engage with their community, make sure there's a connection there, and look for the value of having people come and visit them. So I reckon, Andy, let's start at that small level and yeah, local community keywords for me.
Yeah, correct. So, if we break it down and go, well, what are people looking to achieve from a business perspective? They're either going to be contributing to, or we always say there's three reasons why someone might sponsor, and that's mass eyeballs, which is normally the domain of your larger sports and TV-based larger sports. Then there's almost that community benevolent style contribution to a club or an organization, which tends to happen 99% of the time at that community level. And then also there's the lead generation side of things. So, let's think about the lead generation, and us seeking businesses who are interested in talking to a local community club, because of the lead generation side of things that they can generate from the connection with the club. And that all is about geography, right? So it's about, driving 5, 10 kilometers from the local club and finding businesses essentially in either direction that sit within I guess the local proximity, because it's those businesses who are going to benefit from a relationship with the community sports club, quite simply. And so they're going to look for a social media campaign. They're going to look for jersey sponsorship because they want to get their brand in front of your community, essentially. So at the community level, 100% makes, it's absolutely about the business and what they're trying to achieve, local connection. So we talk about a national brand, and then all of a sudden it differs. And so the national brands, they are still looking for the people within your community who they can connect with, but it's a different thing. They've probably got a different focus to their business. They are looking, they might maybe online, or they may be looking for a specific type of market. It might be superannuation who want to focus on masters sport, or that type of thing, or the upper age of master sport, so into the 50s, 60s, and 70s, where they might be talking about want to speak to them about aged care facilities, those sort of things. So all of a sudden, it does change the way in which we have to do our searching and our lead generation for our clients.
Yeah, so if you go to that top end when you're talking about a national sport or a big end, it's big at state level or something that is not specific to a very local area,
Yeah.
then you're spot on, and you need to change the mindset to who is going to engage with you where it isn't the local, it isn't the someone's going to drive the 5 or 10. It's what sort of businesses want to get a bigger exposure. They might be an online business, or they might be a referral business, or something where they can capture people no matter where they are. So you start to look at brands that are, yeah, either online or available, ubiquitous across the nation. So, let's use a tool brand like a Makita or something like that, where, yeah, they doesn't matter where you are, you have access to their brands. So that's at the really top end. And then you need to, obviously, the very top end business levels have so much opportunity and it can be hard to get in there. You need to kind of go down to that next level of, okay, who is a national brand or who is trying to go national, but hasn't really got the sort of tier one budget or tier one exposure, and you can help them. So there's a few little nuances there at that top end where you can start to dig in and look at someone like a supplement company, for instance, or an energy drink. So they're big, they know they want to go national, they just need help. At that level, if you're a big branded sports organization, then yeah, you can hook in and help them, and it's a win-win. And win-wins are what it's all about when you're talking about sponsorship.
I agree with you. All right. So we've identified clearly the difference between a local search and a more national based search. Um, I think we'll leave it there. But the one thing that has come up for me is that you talked about the tiers of businesses who we like to focus on. And I think that's going to be our next topic, Glenn.
Well,
So,
I'll tell you what, I'm going to jump in and ask you a question because we've done the two easy ends of the spectrum.
yeah.
Let's just dive quickly into the middle tier. And the middle tier is, you explained, the top end of that community sport. So you might be an association, you might have 1,000 members, you might be big enough, but you're not a national brand, so to speak. So maybe I'm gonna put you in the hot seat and
No, it's good.
say, what do you do when you're in that middle, call it the grayer area in the middle there?
Yeah, look, great question. So I think the reality is we've got a local club where you put a pin in the map and we search around quite simply geographically, and then you've got a national organisation which probably doesn't have a pin in the map, and it's more about the businesses who are trying to target a specific demographic, and that would sit within the framework of that sports organisation. Okay, so like a master sport, 40 above, that sort of thing. So we have to identify that. So what happens when it's an association? You treat it as a hybrid almost. So if it's an association where it operates, let's say a football or soccer or a cricket association that might be across half of Melbourne, for example, or half of Sydney, then it is a little bit more of a tricky scenario. What we tend to do there is still a pin in the map scenario, still geographically is very relevant. But we tend to look at where the larger populations or the larger clubs are, and we might search around where the group of larger clubs with a larger participation base might be. We also look for businesses who might have multi-locations. So as a part of our research, we look for a physiotherapist who might have 3 clinics in the area, or a baker's delight who might have 10 bakeries within the area. So it does change the way you work, but at the same time, what happens within those sports organizations is people are moving between locations regularly as well. So it adds a different dynamic. Um, so they are drifting, you got 4 or 5 thousand people on a Saturday afternoon drifting across the different areas. So the conversations that we have with sponsors, or the outreach we have to a prospective sponsor, is slightly different to a national organization or a very local sports organization who are looking for very local sponsors. So hopefully that explains a little bit more about the way in which we go about our searching and the methodology behind it.
I think you've done well. A grade explanation, and yeah, hopefully that helps talk about the little black art of targeting and searching for sponsors. Well done.
Good stuff. Look forward to our next conversation. Let's talk about the 4 tiers of prospective businesses and our target businesses and what that means in our search as well. So look forward to it. Good luck during the week.
Good stuff. Talk soon.
Bye, Glenn.